让孩子出国念书，应该是很多父母亲的期望。大家好，我是张主任，我们要去街头调查台湾青年人最想去的国家，同时跟英国及爱尔兰总监来聊一聊出国念书还有哪些选择，英国、爱尔兰有什么独特之处呢？
根据教育部国际及两岸教育司去年12月的资料显示，111年度台湾大约有5万多人出国读书，其中在美国读书的人数有20487位，在澳洲的有11877位。一样是英语系国家，为什么去英国与爱尔兰读书的人却这么少？让我们一起来听听年轻人怎么说吧。
如果可以出国留学，英国、爱尔兰、美国，你会选哪一国？
美国，因为美国感觉很好玩。
我想要选英国，大家都很有博学多闻的样子啊，比美式发音的还好听。
Oh yeah, definitely.
美国，因为 BTS 很常去那个地方。他们的学历会比较好，帮助到未来。
美国应该资源比较多吧？
美国有认识，英国就喜欢啊，我觉得那边很漂亮。
美国吧，大部分网络上都是讲美国的学校，很多比较有名的科学家可能都偏在那边吧。
我应该是英国
，Yes，
因为我有一个同学，他也想要到英国读书。
英国，因为我国中同学有那个英国。漂亮
Yeah, I think so. Me too.
对美国有什么印象？
汉堡，
香香，
大，有钱啊。
对英国有什么印象？
伊莎白二世，
大笨钟，
工业时期非常好，
房子很好看。
Yes.
对爱尔兰有什么印象？
爱尔兰没什么印象。
爱尔兰在哪里
？Oh no.
听过但不多。他在欧洲吧？
对啊，
我不知道爱尔兰在哪里。
爱尔兰是。
That's good.
其实我觉得 KTV 真的都好。
Welcome to Taiwan.
Thank
Very
you.
first time.
I'm Michelle Harrison, and I am the Managing Director of Educatious UK and Ireland. I've worked in the student exchange business for over 32 years now.
And I am Gemma Colborne. I am the UK Business Development and Welfare Manager. I've been working with Educatious for, well, this is my 8th year now, but my background previous to working with Educatious is in teaching. So I've got a fair amount of experience in supporting students.
Don't you just love the British accent? I always want to learn, but never really pick up me.
Mine is the northern accent.
Yeah. Oh.
Hers is the southern
sound
accent.
of the south.
Really?
I say bath, she says
Bath.
I say bus, she says
Bus.
So do you guys understand the Irish local dialect?
Getting there. But I think one of the things that I always like is when we get to the end of the academic year and you've got a student in maybe in Bexhill in the south of England and a student in Liverpool in the north, and as they're just freely speaking, yeah, you can spot exactly where they've been for the last year.
Let's move on to our programs, which student from Taiwan to participate in the high school program in UK or Ireland. So what do you think they need to be anticipate or expect to learn?
We run an orientation program for students online pre-departure, and then our soft landing camp program, because starting in September, and they'll be starting at a fresh school year along with all of the British students or the Irish students, so all the students are in the same boat effectively. So I think they need to be aware of that.
The good thing about Ireland is that families are very welcoming and want to support the students and are very proud of their country, so they want to be able to show the students their local area and teach them to do Irish dancing and learn some Gaelic, and I think that the Ireland feels their culture very, very strongly, and I think this is an advantage for the student.
If you go to European countries, you can still first language is English. You have more choice than other than the US. Another thing, the school are built in stone, like a castles. And when you search in the histories, the school is like several hundred years old schools. That is something also really kind of shocking for our kids. We don't have anything several hundred years. What about Ireland and UK?
So, I mean, I think building on the point that you just made, really, about history and culture, for the UK specifically, we have a school, for example, on the south coast that is built on the land of the Battle of Hastings from 1066. So the schools are very much a part of the local community, but there's a lot of very rich and diverse history and culture that the students can really immerse themselves in, and that becomes kind of integral to their experience overall. And I think the proximity of other European countries as well, and the ability to travel and experience not just the UK or not just Ireland, but to be able to pop to France and Germany and so on, and really kind of live the full European experience.
So maybe we can have a little example of what's one day of life in Ireland, one day of life in the UK as a high school.
Yeah, so in Ireland, it's quite a unique education system. The students who would come from Taiwan will normally be 15, and the students at that age enter a year called transition year. And this is unique. I don't know any other country in the world that offers this educational experience. Kids do but they also do lots of things like computer, they learn to drive, they have speakers come in to talk to them about different careers, different job prospects. The students then have to go out and find work experience. This kind of thing just really builds the character of the student, because it gives them a maturity that they don't have just sitting in a classroom doing English and maths and those subjects. It also improves their English.
So the academic system is very different. For students who are aged 16, 17, they will typically come in and study on the A-level programme, which is internationally renowned. It's a very strong kind of academic programme. The students will study 3 subjects in total, and I think one of the biggest adjustments that students have to make so they can choose whichever 3 subjects they are interested in. Some schools have up to 50 subjects to choose from. They will usually have 3 or 4 lessons, and maybe 1 or 2 free periods which are intended for study. So they take themselves to the library, or they're studying in a quiet study space at college. And then in the evening, all of our school partners in the UK run a series of extracurricular options. So whether it is sports, performing arts, music, whatever it might be that student is either already interested in or wants to start something fresh. And then in the evenings, they will typically have dinner with their host families. But of course, host families are around on the weekends as well, and kind of taking part in those activities that are essential to the host family.
Well, bistros, kids were asking that lots of bars. Is it the Irish bar?
Lots of Irish bars, yeah.
But our kids are not allowed to go to a bar, right?
No, but no, but yes. No, but what we do is we have some of the small bars in some of the towns where they let our kids go in. They don't drink, but they get to experience the local pub.
Have you drank any alcohol before 18?
Never.
Drank a lot of alcohol before 18. Sport is a big thing in Ireland. They have quite particular sports. So they have football, but they also have Gaelic football and a sport called camogie and hurling. Families like to get together a lot, so they have lots of kids and grandkids, and then usually once in the weekend or once a month they get together for a party.
Unlike US exchange program, it's 1 year. While with Ireland, especially UK, students have the choices to continue their education in UK.
So I think that's one of the main benefits really of the UK education system. It is internationally recognised. For most students, as I mentioned, they will follow the A-level pathway. We do have other options also, so we have some students who are following the International Baccalaureate pathway, and other students who are following a more career-focused pathway. That tends to be more popular in subjects like business studies and IT and computing science. And all of those can be 2-year programs that then can be used to apply for university either in the UK or abroad. There's no limitation on that.
So that's actually moving on to A-level 6 form, right? So that will be 2 years.
Yes, that's right. There are options to complete the full A-level in a shorter programme, and that is always a really attractive option to students.
In Ireland, most students from Taiwan would start with the TY year transition. They can then carry on to do 5th and 6th year, which are like the equivalent to the A-level years in the UK.
Many different countries all have a good universities to be able to continue. That is something really benefit when you choose Ireland or UK. So as office, we work here from Taiwan, you're in from UK. How we helping students?
So I think there are 2 real levels to this. The first being how we communicate across office, and also then the second being how we are supporting the students directly. So I think our main priority at all times is that no student ever feels that they don't have someone to turn to. Whether it's 1 o'clock in the morning and they're panicking, from a very practical kind of perspective in the UK, we have our emergency contacts. We are always available on that. All students have a local coordinator who is there to support them with everything from the very run-of-the-mill, how do I get my bus pass, through to severe homesickness, and sometimes there are clashes in personality, sometimes messages are misconstrued. So we've launched what we've called the Independent Listener, which is essentially a direct line for students to our head office. We want to make sure that safety net is there to catch everyone, essentially. Another thing that we, again, this is a new project that's been launched this academic year, but that we have implemented globally, our Youth Resilience Initiative. First of all, recognising that young people are up against relatively large amounts of challenge at any given time, and that ebbs and flows. So Education's ran something called the Resilience Index, which looked at thousands of students across the globe and how they felt they could deal with challenge. Did they feel they could deal with challenge? It's been developed with a paediatrician and a psychologist in Sweden. It's all delivered online because it's global. And the aim isn't about making sure they have that in place before programme. The aim is that when they then leave and go on to whatever comes next, which inevitably is university for most of our students, they have that skill set ready to go. We also have incorporated training sessions for parents on how better to support resilience in their sons and daughters.
The most important thing for us is the welfare of our students. If they're safe and happy, everything else will fall into place.
Exactly. 欧洲的国家除了丰富的文化之外，你还可以加上你本身就希望接触英文，这是一个1+1大于2。我觉得选择这2个国家的一个优势。Really appreciate that this time for you guys travel such a long time.
And thank you for having us. It's so nice to meet everybody face to face and to update on new things, new developments, and to be excited about the future.
Great. After this, we're going to go to 鼎泰丰. It's actually a Michelin restaurant. Okay, thank you.
Got it.
Ciao.
We don't really know what we're doing.
So we're done.
We can talk.
We can talk.
That's good.
Is it safe?
I would say now that you don't feel that very much at all, because the young people, the young generation coming through, they don't want to live in the past in that way. So the division between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland is diffused now. So there is no need to worry.
Okay, well, another thing, what about UK?
Yeah.
The reason why I don't want to the food.
Yes.
That's a kind of typical.
That's quite a good
Very
point,
typical,
really.
right?
And I think that, to be honest, you wouldn't believe the number of conversations we have about food
all the time.
For the first 2 weeks of September. We don't really talk about anything else.
Food.
I think food is so emotionally laden, and it's a taste of home. When you're perhaps moving from Taiwanese food to English food, that's perhaps a bigger hurdle. But I promise you will get used to it, and it's not as bad as the stereotypes make out. Bye guys, see you in the UK.
And in Ireland.